Hello everyone, welcome in this video tutorial where you're gonna learn how to make these baby jellyfish. So if you're looking for the mama's pattern, you can find it in the description along with other information like the list for the materials, all the rounds and more. So make sure to check that description. Make sure to also follow me on Instagram under All From Jade. And just a quick tip here, if ever in the video tutorial I'm going too fast or too slow for you, you can always change the speed of the video in the settings and then under playback speed. Here's a little disclaimer for you also before we start. So this is not a crochet class, so if you do not know how to crochet, I suggest you to learn how to hold the crochet hook and hold the yarn, for example, and then come back to that tutorial. So let's start with the materials that you're gonna need for that tutorial. And let's start now. So we're gonna start with round number 1. You're gonna need your yarn and your crochet hook, and we're gonna start with the magic ring. But if you do not know how to do the magic ring, make sure to keep on watching because I'm going to show you an easier way to start your piece without making the magic ring. But if you want to try and do the magic ring, I'm going to show you how I do it. So I'm holding the yarn tail right here in front of my fingers. I'm going to make an X like this with the other hand. I'm going to hold that X, turn my hand so I can see my nails, and I'm going to place my yarn, my working yarn, between my last 2 fingers here. Then I'm gonna insert my crochet hook underneath the first loop. I'm gonna grab the second loop, twist and pull, and then to finish the magic ring, I'm just gonna go and yarn over the working yarn and pull through the loop. So that would be the way I do my magic ring, like so, and then we're gonna work in that magic ring. I'm also gonna show you another technique. So if you're working in the magic ring, we're gonna do 6 single crochet stitches, and for this pattern I'm working yarn under, so I'm going to show you the difference. Maybe you already learned it, but I'm just going to show you. So I'm inserting my hook underneath both strands there, and I'm going to yarn under, so the yarn is under the hook and I'm pulling through. So I have 2 loops on my hook, and then I'm yarning over, so the yarn is over the hook and pulling through both loops. So that's 1 single crochet, and then I'm going under again, yarning under, pulling through, yarning over, pulling through. So that's 2, and I'm gonna make 6. 3, 4, 5, and 6, and I'm just gonna close my magic ring right now to show you what it looks like. So I'm holding my last stitch here with one hand, and I'm pulling on both strands to start, so it's bringing all my stitches closer together, and then I'm gonna pull on my yarn tail to close the magic ring, like so. And this would be round 1 with 6 single crochet stitches. Now, like I said, I'm going to show you another way that you can start your piece without making the magic ring. So if you have completed the magic ring, just skip this part and go right to round 2. But otherwise, I'm going to show you. So you're going to start with a slip knot. So I'm holding my yarn tail right here, and I'm going to wrap it around again, making an X, turning my fingers. I'm going to insert my hook underneath the first loop, grabbing the second, pulling through, and now what you want to do is holding those 2 yarn tails right here and pulling, and there you have your slip knot. And then when you pull on the yarn tail, it should tighten up like so, and if you pull on the working yarn, it should loosen up. So this is what you want to start with, and then you're gonna chain 2. So to make a chain, you're gonna yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. So that's 2 chains. And then you're gonna work your 6 single crochet stitches into the second chain from the hook. So this is the first chain and this is the second. So I'm gonna insert my hook into the second stitch, second chain, yarning under, pulling through, yarning over, pulling through. So that's 1 single crochet. I'm gonna do 5 more, always going into the same chain. So that's 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now what you need to do is hold that slip knot that we made at the beginning and pull the yarn tail. And there you go. You have your round 1. For round number 2, you're going to make an increase in each stitch around. So what you need to do first is to find that first stitch that you need to work in. So a little tip here is to count from the end going to the beginning. So I would start counting my V right here at the end. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So this is the stitch I want to work in. And I'm going to insert my hook, yarn under, pull through, yarn over, pull through. So that's 1 single crochet stitch. I'm going to step here. I'm going to place my stitch marker right here. And I'm going to complete an increase in that first stitch. So an increase, it's basically 2 single crochet stitches in the same stitch. So I just made 1. I'm going to insert my hook into the same stitch and complete another single crochet stitch. So that would be my first increase, and I want to do that around. You should have 5 stitches left before the stitch marker. So that will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we're going to make an increase in each of these stitches. So 1 single crochet, going back into the same stitch to make another single crochet, and then another increase, again, I have 2 more stitches, and 1 more. Okay, so see, this is the end of round 2. You should have 12 stitches around. So you always start counting where your stitch marker is. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. We're going to start round 3 now. Going to remove the stitch marker. You're going to make 1 single crochet stitch into the next stitch. Put your marker back, like so, and then you're going to make an increase in the next stitch. An increase is 2 single crochet into the same stitch. So we've made 1 single crochet, 1 increase. You're going to repeat that around. So 1 single crochet, 1 increase. 1 single crochet, 1 increase. 1 single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase. So you should finish with an increase in the last stitch. And you should have a total of 18 stitches around, and always count the first stitch is where the stitch marker is. So let's start round number 4. So you're gonna do 1 single crochet stitch in each stitch around. So you're gonna keep the same amount of stitches. So I'm making 1 single crochet here, placing my marker, and I'm gonna do 1 single crochet in each stitch. So I'm at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Okay, so this is the end of round 4. Now we're gonna make another round like this. So for round 5, you're gonna do the same thing. So 1 single crochet in each stitch around. You can pause the video here and we're gonna meet at the end of round 5. So just repeat exactly what you've done for round 4 and we're gonna meet at the end of round 5 now. Okay, so now at the end of round 5, I have 18 stitches around. I'm gonna remove my crochet hook, so just loosen up that loop on your hook before you remove it. And we're gonna be ready to place the eyes. So I'll keep the stitch marker at the back, so it's gonna be the back of the head. I'm gonna use one eye and I'm gonna place it between the 2 last rounds, so round 5 and 4. Just gonna place it between 2 stitches. Like that. Okay, and now for the other eye, you're gonna count it like this. So you're gonna count the spaces between the stitches. So if I stretch my work a little bit, I know that I have spaces here, here, here. So this is what you want to count. So we're going to count 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'll insert the other eye in the 4th stitch. So they are 3 stitches apart. And now you just need to secure them with the little washers. You're going to place the flat part of the washer touching the yarn. So just like that. Same for the other eye. There we go. So now you have little eyes. Okay, on to round 6 now. We're gonna do decreases and we're gonna work into the back loops only. So I'm gonna explain that to you. You can remove your stitch marker. So basically, I'm going to show you with the needle. When you're working your stitches, you usually always want to go into the V shape right here. But that is the front loop and this is the back loop. So sometimes, like this pattern, for example, you need to use only one. So for the next step, we're only going to work into the back loops of the next stitches. And like I said, we're going to do decreases and we're going to do regular decreases. So if you already know how to crochet and you do the the invisible decrease, this is not what we're going to do now. So you really want to follow what I'm doing. So you're going to insert your hook into the next stitch, but only into the back loop. So I'm placing my hook in the middle of the stitch and grabbing only the back loop. I'm going to yarn under, pull through the back loop, so you have 2 loops on your hook, and then you're gonna pick up the back loop of the next stitch like so. Yarn under, pull through, so you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all loops. So this is one decrease, and I'm gonna place my marker into that very first stitch. And you want to do decreases around. So that was my first one. I'm gonna do it again with you. So picking up the back loop of the next stitch, yarning under, pulling through, picking up the back loop of my next stitch, yarning under, pulling through, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. So I'm gonna do that around. So you should have 9 decreases. So that was my third. Four. 5. 6. 7. 8, and 9. There you go. So this is the end of round 6. I'm gonna remove the stitch marker and I'm gonna do a slip stitch into the next stitch. So you see I already cut my yarn, but don't cut it yet. It's just that I pre-cut it. So you're gonna insert your hook into the next V, so into the next stitch. Yarn over, so I'm yarning over for this one and pulling through the V and the loop on your hook. And then you can cut your yarn, leaving about 5 or 10 centimeters and pull through. So this is the head right now. We're gonna leave it aside for now because we're gonna work on the tentacles. So you're gonna need your yarn and your crochet hook again, and we're gonna start with a slip knot. So if you skip that part in the beginning, I'm just gonna show you what I'm doing. So I'm wrapping the yarn tail around my fingers, going underneath the first loop, grabbing the second, pulling, and then holding both strands and pulling through to, and pulling to make a knot. And when you pull on that yarn tail, it should tighten up on your hook. And for the tentacles, we're gonna make a total of 8, and you're gonna do 4 of 8 chains and then 4 of 12 chains. I'm gonna show you one. So I'm gonna make a 12 chains tentacle. So that's gonna be 1 chain. So you're yarning over, pulling through the loop. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, I'm gonna remove my hook, taking my scissors, and I'm gonna cut, leaving a short yarn tail. And then you just wanna pull through, like so, and pull tight so it makes a knot. Same at the beginning, so I'm just pulling that first strand of yarn. So this is 1 tentacle, and to finish it, I'm simply making another knot so it's more secured. So I'm making a knot right here, and I want it to be as close as possible to the end of the chains. So just like so. And I'm gonna cut it really short. So this is 1 long tentacle. So if I'm showing you my little baby here, so this would be 1 tentacle, and then you also have short ones. So I'm gonna leave you and I'm gonna let you work on your own. So we want a total, like I said, of 4 long tentacle of 12 chains and 4 short tentacle of 8 chains. So we're gonna meet when you have your 8 tentacles. Okay, so I have my 8 tentacles, 4 long and 4 short, and I'm gonna show you how we're gonna attach them. So you're gonna need your crochet hook and your head, and you're gonna use your crochet hook to insert it inside the little V's of your last round. So we're skipping the stitch where you made the slip stitch. You see there's a knot there, and it's coming from that stitch here. So I'm gonna skip this one, I'm gonna go into the next, and you want to insert your crochet hook from the inside of the head going out. Then I'm gonna take, let's say, 1 short, and I'm using the long yarn tail. The other side is just a knot. So I'm gonna place it on my crochet hook, just like so, and pulling through. That's it. Okay, so that's 1. I'm gonna go into the next stitch, and I'm gonna place a long chain and pulling through. Okay, so that's 2, and I'm gonna make a knot with these 2, and I'm gonna do that for all the tentacles. So I'm just taking these 2 yarn tails and making actually 2 knots, and I want to make sure that it's really, really tight. Okay, this is it for these two. So I'm gonna put that and speed it a little bit so it's faster for you, but you can do it on your own as well. So you just repeat what I've just done, going into the next stitch, and always taking one short and one long, and then making knots. Okay, so all my tentacles are attached, so it looks like this for now, and I have all my yarn tails coming out. So this is why we don't need any stuffing, because we're gonna stuff our jellyfish with all the yarn tails. So I'm just gonna push them into the head with my finger. If it's too tight, you can use your crochet hook or your scissors. Okay, and I'm gonna show you how to close the hole at the bottom of the head. So you're gonna need to use the yarn tail that you left from the head and your yarn needle. So I'm gonna thread my yarn, and I'm gonna use only the front loops this time. So it should be the loops really close to each tentacle. So like this one here, this one here. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I do. So I'm going into the, I can use this one here, so it's the stitch from my slip stitch, so I can use this one because I see the front loop, and I'm going from the outside going inside, or closer to me going further away from me. Pull through, and then same into the next front loop. So always closer to me going away. That's 2. 3, and you can always help you with the tentacles to find the next stitch. So I'm just going to do that all the way around. And now I'm at the end because I see that I have my knot here. So now you're just gonna pull on that yarn tail to close the opening, like that. If you still have a little hole, what I can give you as a tip is to insert your needle into the, you should see some little lines like this. So I'm just going under a few lines like this and pull through. Okay, and now we're gonna hide that yarn tail inside the head. So I'm going into the middle of the opening that was there, just going into the head, pulling through, and I'm gonna do that 3 times. So I'm going back into the same hole, same space, somewhere else in the head, and then one last time, just like so. And I'm gonna cut my yarn. And now I'm just pulling on the tentacles to straighten them up a little bit. So you could leave your jellyfish like that if you want, but I just like to add the little border like this one here. So if you want to stop here, good job. And if you want to do the border, just stay with me. So we're gonna use our yarn and our crochet hook. You're gonna turn your jellyfish around so you see the back of it, and to know where the back is where you should see a space between the front loop that we left. So this is all the front loops here. Okay, So I'm gonna insert my hook into the last front loop, so the higher one, like so. I'm gonna place my yarn on top of my crochet hook and I'm gonna pull through. Okay, so it looks like this. Now I'm gonna go into the next front loop, which is the lower one, the lowest one. I'm gonna pick it up like that. I'm gonna yarn over, pull through the loop and through the loop on the hook. So that would be a slip stitch. And now you want to do one chain, so you chain one and you're going to do another slip stitch into the same front loop. So you see where my stitch here is? I'm going to go back there into the same front loop, yarning over, pulling through the front loop and pulling through the loop that was on the hook. Then you're going to do 2 slip stitches into the next front loop, so that's 1, and then into the next one, 1 chain, chain 1, insert your hook into the same front loop and make a slip stitch. And then you want to do that around, so slip stitch into the next, slip stitch into the next, chain 1, slip stitch into the same, again slip stitch into the next, slip stitch into the next, chain 1 and slip stitch into the same. So I'm getting close to the end now, chaining 1, slip stitching into the same, and then I just need to do 2 more slip stitches to finish that round. 1, I'm gonna cut my yarn and pull. So you have 1 knot at the end, and now you may have your border looking like a star like this. You just want to pull it down a little bit so it follows the head shape, like so. And now you just want to hide these yarn tail. So I'm using my yarn needle and I'm doing exactly the same as I did for the yarn tail that was coming from the head. So I'm just gonna speed that up. And there you go, your little jellyfish is completed. I hope you enjoy the tutorial. Make sure to like it, to share it, to subscribe to my channel, and to comment underneath the video if you liked it. And also, if you are on Instagram, make sure to tag me in your post when you share your little baby jellyfish using the hashtag allfromjade and tagging me. So thank you again and see you soon. Bye.